So friends, do you know the difference between macronutrients and micronutrients? Or do you know the exact difference between manure and fertilizers? Or do you know what is compost and vermicompost? So yes, all the answers related to these questions you will find in this video. So let's talk about crop production management. As we all know, India is agriculture based country. Different farmers have more or less land. It is the money or financial conditions that allow the farmers to take up different farming practices and agricultural technologies. Production practices can be at three levels. They include no cost production, low cost production, and high cost production practices. So now let's talk about nutrient management. As we all know, plants need nutrients for their healthy growth. Nutrients are supplied to plants by air, water, and soil. Air supplies carbon and oxygen. Water supplies hydrogen, and 13 other nutrients are supplied by the soil. Now let's talk about macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are nutrients required by the plants in larger amounts. Examples are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Micronutrients are the nutrients required by the plants in lesser amount. Examples are iron, zinc, copper, etc. Now let's talk about the process of composting. Composting is the process in which animal excreta or waste of vegetables or fruits are dug into the soil and converted into organic matter called manure. If in this process green plants are used, then it is called green manure. And if in this process earthworm is used, then it is called vermicompost. Now let's talk about the difference between manure and fertilizers. Manure are organic in nature. This means they do not contain any kind of chemical. Fertilizers are inorganic in nature. Manure are prepared in field. Fertilizers are prepared in factories. Manure are less pollutant. Fertilizers are more pollutant. Manure are cheap. Fertilizers is very expensive. Now let's talk about the process of irrigation. Irrigation is the process of providing water to crops. There are different sources of irrigation. Like for example, there are wells, canals, river, sprinkler system and tanks. So now let's talk about cropping patterns. The first type is mixed cropping. Mixed cropping is growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same piece of land. For example, wheat plus gram or wheat plus mustard. Second type is intercropping. Intercropping is growing two or more crops simultaneously on the same field in a definite pattern. A few rows of one crop alternate with a few rows of second crop. For example, soybean plus maize. Third type is crop rotation. Crop rotation is the growing of different crops on a piece of land in a pre-planned succession. If crop rotation is done properly, then 2 or 3 crops can be grown in a year with good harvests. So, this was all about crop production improvement. Thank you.